welcome to our COE bi-weekly call. Today, I'll be walking you through some of the new features in Xanadu release as it relates to HRSD. So let's get into it. We're going to start with the release date. Obviously, it's not news to everyone. The early availability of Xanadu was made available on August 1st, and then general availability as per the Tech Now webinar that happened a few days ago is September 10th. That's what the information I got. We'll see if they stay true to that or delay. But general availability is supposed to roll out next week. We'll start with HR service delivery. Obviously, the core component of HR service delivery and what's new. We'll cover each of the topics in a bit more details in terms of what features are coming new or we can expect to see with Xanadu. Obviously, starting with HR service delivery for healthcare, which is a newly launched application for healthcare professional onboarding. We'll see some of the enhancements in agent workspace, in case and knowledge management, document template, employee relations, and then journey designers. So without further ado, we can dive into our first feature, as I said, is the HR service delivery for healthcare. This application really enables you to see the full picture of all the required onboarding information during and after a physician onboarding. And as I mentioned, this is a new application in the Xanadu release. The two key features in this application is that it comes with a healthcare professional data model. And what this is really used to store confidential data pertaining to a healthcare professional, such as their practice name, their medical degree, practice locations, etc. This data model enables the organization to access, track, and update the healthcare profile information, a screenshot of which you can see on your screen throughout the period of employment of a healthcare professional. And the profile records are stored confidentially and aren't publicly available. So I definitely would be useful for all our healthcare customers that are looking to onboard or use the enterprise onboarding. The next up is the customizable healthcare employee onboarding workflow. So obviously, when you install the application out of the box, it comes with a lifecycle event. It comes with a HR service. It's also part of the journeys. So you can actually initiate the healthcare professional journey, onboarding through the journeys. And the journey is also fully flushed out. It's a combination of LE as well as JA tasks. But yeah, we use the default healthcare employee onboarding workflow in Journey Designer to set up and automate the following task for a newly hired healthcare professional at a healthcare organization, which is it will auto create a profile and email account for the healthcare professional. It will auto initiate the necessary form intake task for the healthcare professional, and it will auto create credentialing and validation tasks for HR agents so the agents can review and validate information submitted by the healthcare professional. Next up is Agent Workspace. As we know that it was enhanced and updated in the Xanadu release, some of the notable new features in Xanadu related to HR Agent Workspace are related to accessibility. So there's been accessibility improvements where now the configurable workspace does support the WCAG 2.1 level AA conformance, and there's a reflow. It now supports reflow, which enables pages and contents to be zoomed up to 400% to your browser settings without loss of content or functionality. And lastly, we now have the option of guided tours within the configurable workspace. So you can use the help icon from the main sidebar, which would initiate a guided tour for Agent Workspace for HR case management. Next up is we'll look into some of the new features related to case and knowledge management. So this application really enables you to standardize the documentation, interaction, and fulfillment of employee inquiries and requests, which helps improve HR efficiency and services over time. Some of the notable features within the case and knowledge management in Xanadu are that you can now run guided setup for each domain within HR service delivery. Prior to Xanadu release, you could only run the guided setup at the global domain only. The next is finally, I think, long-awaited feature that they have finally moved the workflow to Workflow Studios. So all the HR service activities workflow, the HR case user acceptance workflow, the HR case approval subflows, they've all been migrated to Workflow Studio. However, obviously, this is done through a system property, which is called SNHR Core Deprecated Workflow. And as an HR administrator, you can configure the system property to decide whether you want to run it in the legacy workflow, how it is, or you want to migrate to the Workflow Studio, which is the new application in Xanadu. Lastly, there's also a zero trust access ZTA for HR Service Delivery now, which is really enables an administrator to configure in-time access with dynamic role relegation features and based on different criteria such as IP address, location, device, or time. The administrator can also craft policies to permit only a certain subset of the user's original role into the session, which is again groundbreaking. I think it just adds to that security layer that's already present with HR Service Delivery, but just with Zero Trust, there's additional functionalities available. And lastly, with Xanadu release, the HR document templates are being deprecated. So they will be hidden and no longer available on new instances, but will be continued to be supported on existing instances that upgrade from a previous version. The next feature I want to talk about is document template. And one of the new features in Xanadu related to document template is signing date in PDF. What this feature is it records the date automatically when a participant signs a document. Obviously, you need to use the signing date option. You need to select the use signing date option, and then the date appears on the PDF document within the field where you specify the mapping, the PDF template mapping record. And this capability is only available for ServiceNow signing type. So it's not available for Adobe or DocuSign. It's only available if you use the ServiceNow signing type. So that's a short and sweet feature within document template. Next up is employee relations. As we all know, this is used for tighter security for protecting privacy and sensitive information shared via employee relation case. The new feature within employee relations module is for single subject employee relation cases. So when you only have one subject of allegation, one person, then the subject of allegation field in the relevant case tabs will automatically be populated with the subject's name. So I think it saves some time where you don't have to manually now go to the related list and enter the subject of allegation. As long as it's only one person, then it will auto populate. And then I think the other feature is that now you can create cases specifically related to discrimination using the core UI as well as the agent workspace and the anonymous report center. So now there are more ways where you can create discrimination cases within employee relations. Next up, for journey designers, I think some of the new features within Xanadu for journey designers are that it now supports a change of manager. So if a manager initiated a journey and then during that journey, if the manager changed, you can now have the ability to change that in the existing journeys. The next feature is called return to journey details page after a task is completed. This feature helps navigate back to the journey details page after the task completion, avoiding the need to go through the breadcrumbs, because obviously before we had to use the breadcrumbs to get to the journeys details page. So that is no longer needed. And the last feature within Journey Designer is that you can delete subsequent tasks when a journey is deleted. So this helps delete a journey and all subsequent tasks at the same time. So there's a relationship. So now you don't have to manually go in and delete all the tasks separately. If you delete the journey, all the subsequent tasks within that journey will also be deleted. So that was the first section of our presentation, which was related to HR service delivery. If there's no questions, then I can move on to the next section, which is where we'll be covering new enhancements and features within the talent development application, formerly known as Employee Growth and Development EGD. I also did a Share the Wealth earlier in the year, I believe in February, on employee growth and development. So if any one of you are interested in seeing that, it should be in the Share the Wealth repository somewhere. other recording. But within this talent development, I think there are the new application is the Leader Hub, and then there are some enhancements to ServiceNow Opportunity Marketplace application as well as the Talent Development Core application. So let's get into the details. The Talent Development Core is really nothing but a renamed. So the Employee Development and Core application, which was previously, has been renamed to Talent Development Core. This change really enables easier alignment of growth and development goals across the enterprise. So that was the sole reason of the name change. And yeah, nothing functionality wise has changed except the name of, as I said, employee growth and development to Talent Development Core. On the contrary, there's a lot that has changed on the ServiceNow Opportunity Marketplace application. So this application originally only had a single opportunity type called internal jobs. But in Xanadu, there are three additional opportunity types added: projects, gigs, and volunteer. These opportunity types differ from the traditional opportunities in that they are temporary for a fixed duration, and the duration can be short term or long term, but not permanent. The opportunity owner persona is the leader or sort of like the host of the opportunity, and the owner can create, publish opportunities to the marketplace for employees to view and apply to. Additionally, the opportunity owners can also manage and view status updates of their opportunities from the Opportunities You Own dashboard, which is available with Xanadu. Owners can also use the details page to review and select applicants, and applicants are really employees who have applied for an opportunity. The applicant review experience includes matches scores based on how well an employee meets the skill criteria as well as the criteria specified for the role. The next feature in the Opportunity Marketplace application is enhanced opportunity browsing. So this really gives the employees the ability to search and browse opportunities that match their preferences and skills from the other opportunities page. And lastly, there's an enhanced detailed view of opportunities and roles where employees can view the details of the opportunities and roles from an opportunities details page. Employees see the required and preferred skills and understand their match scores for one or more roles. These opportunity details help employees to understand their own strengths and weaknesses compared to a role if they're interested in applying for. So just a marketplace of new jobs and roles based on skills is what, in a nutshell, is this application. Next up is Leader Hub. As I mentioned earlier, this is a brand new application in Xanadu release. The Leader Hub app provides organizational and HR leaders with visibility into their organization's talent so that they can comprehensively understand the landscape of their workflows. So this does work in conjunction with the talent development application because some of the modules are shared along with the skills intelligence application that is available. Leader Hub, you can really think about like one level above Manager Hub. So obviously ServiceNow came out with Manager Hub, which is really meant to be for people leaders, people managers. This is one above where you're targeting more of your HR leaders and getting the visibility. Some of the features within the Leader Hub are listed here, starting with At a Glance, which really supplies your organizational and HR leaders with instant access to a comprehensive overview of their organization's talent via the At a Glance page. This page is also the home page for Leader Hub, and it offers a glance at data that measures employee engagement and skill proficiencies, along with a glimpse of the teams that comprise your organization. The At a Glance page gives leaders a quick and easy access to the following information about the teams in their organization, like skill cores, significant skill gaps, employee engagement with the growth tools available in the talent development suite of applications. Leaders can access the At a Glance page by selecting At a Glance from the Leader Hub drop-down list on the Employee Center portal. The next feature is called Org Talent. This provides your leaders with a centralized location to view the talents of each team that exists within your organization via the Org Talent page. Leaders can view talent data at any level of granularity through an interactive organizational chart that illustrates the structure of their organization and reporting relationships between managers and employees for each team in their organization. Leaders can also access the Org Talent page by selecting the Org Talent from the Leader Hub drop-down list. Next, we have organizational skills or org skills. This really equips your leaders with the tools to understand the skill composition of their organization via the org skill page. The org skill page displays skills relevant to your leader's organization and provides matrix that leaders can use to identify critical skill gaps and hold managers responsible for developing talent within their teams. Leader can further examine the details associated with each skill by selecting the name of the skill and that they want to view to access the skills details page. Obviously, leaders can access this page, the All Skill page, by selecting the All Skills from the Leader Hub drop-down list. And lastly, there is the org view support. So this is really, in a way, sort of like delegation where leaders can, within their organization, pick users who can support their organization. And once they select an supporter, then they get insights. The supporters get insight into the leader's workforce via the org view support page. And supporters are entrusted with delegated responsibilities and can be designated by their leaders to access Leader Hub so that they can provide support in the capacity required for the organization to succeed. And supporters can access the org support page by selecting the org support on the mega menu. So this is actually not part of the Leader Hub drop-down list. It is actually next to it, just on the mega menu for Employee Center Pro. I think that was the second section, a more heavier section with the talent development applications. Lastly, I just want to speak about skills intelligence and what's new within skill intelligence. So I think one of the enhancements or features within the skills intelligence module is the skills intelligence workspace. So this really helps you now see the job architecture and how it is currently structured and how job families and roles, groups, and skills related to them through the job architecture view in the skills intelligence workspace. It also gives you a sense of issues that needs to be fixed by looking at the node map and you can also select role groups and skills from the recommendations displayed in the skills intelligence workspace. You can select and update role levels and skills through an interface for employees in the employee portal. And now you can also import and view skills through a dynamic and interactive playbook, which is available as part of the workspace as well. It's called skill import is the terminology, but yeah, that's available to you as well. And yeah, that's a wrap. But definitely my 2 cents in terms of reading about these features and trying them out, especially the new features like Leader Hub or the talent development, the opportunity marketplace. ServiceNow, I think, in my opinion, is making it harder and harder because obviously now there are conditions to these menu items on the Employee Center Pro, which really and obviously those conditions called script includes, and within the script includes it calls like functions that really helps determine the visibility. So even for these menu items to be visible, you need to access. I've also seen with this new application, I think the employee profile table is being promoted a lot, where a lot of these modules refer to the employee profile table to ensure that employee profiles are available. If the employee profile is not available for a particular employee, then they'll most likely not be eligible to access that page on the employee center. So that is one big thing that I noticed in my analysis, as well as in terms of, I think the second piece that I really learned was it's not very straightforward. Obviously, there is a specific use cases, and for customers to apply or adopt these applications and use them, they really need to fit in that use case. Like every application, they are available out of the box, and there's demo data that's available that helps sort of provide that starting point where they don't have to start at a clean slate. But even after that, you do need to make a lot of modifications to fit for the organization's need that you're applying or you will be implementing these applications for. And yeah, it just takes a little bit of digging into these different script includes and everything to figure out how exactly a user can get, because before that it was only like for Manager Hub, for example, it was only the role that, you grant a user the manager hub user role, and they can see, as long as they're a people manager, they can see the teams, they can see manager hub and then view all the pages within that. But that's not the case with Leader Hub or some of the other applications, because now, as I said, they need to access, in order for them to access, they need to have an employee profile, and all the subordinates, like all their people, also needs to have employee profile. And some of these pages also have widgets and dashboards on it. So you need to run those additional jobs to populate that to you as well. So that was just some of my findings, that they do make it look like bells and whistles and all, like nice and pretty, but it's not until you actually get into the configuration. And obviously, with PDIs, there's some restrictions that they are applying, where even though it allows you to install the applications on your PDI, there are some components for which you need to, like need those. And these skills intelligence, talent development, as well as Leader Hub, they're all interrelated. So if you don't have a skills intelligence or a skills profile built out, then you can't really use Leader Hub, because the Leader Hub needs to look into the skills within your organization. So there's some precursors to it as well, right? If for a customer selects to say that I want to implement Leader Hub, they're not gonna get the value that they are looking for unless they do skills intelligence and populate the skills matrix with all the jobs that they currently have, and then assign those skills to their employees, which is part of the talent development module, and have the career growth and aspirations and all of those implemented as well. So yeah, there's a lot of dependency, especially with these new applications, that we need to be mindful of whenever we go into these conversations with customers, or if the customers are looking to, they say that, okay, we see this application and how we want to do it. So it's not cut and dry, for sure, which is, again, as we all know, is not a news to us, but with every release, I think ServiceNow is just making them. And they're all separate SKUs and applications. You obviously need to have HRSD, but then these all applications are licensed separately on top. So you need to pay for the licenses. Even with an enterprise or a pro tier, they won't, and they're not entitled to these applications. So they need to pay separately for that as well. So those are some of my key things that I wanted to share with this group.
Hey Mo, I got a question for you. So it sounds like there's a lot of demo data with those new modules. Did you like, just from your opinion, shooting from the hip, was that demo data good? Because I was thinking, like, if we're going to show this to customers, having those skills make sense. That's going to be tricky, because you know how every customer, their organization is different. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Is there like a decent sampling of like skills and how they tie together?
Yeah, so with the skills intelligence, ServiceNow does provide like a dump of skills, industry skills, that I don't know where they've gathered from, but they do provide that, and you can use that to load that data. But that skills may be relevant to the customer or not. And I think in my employee growth and development Shadowell that I did, we saw the list of skills that were available, and yeah, it's hard to say whether they are consumable to the customers, because each customer has a different skills profile and jobs differ to them. So they almost have to rebuild their skills profile before they can, get into implementing Leader Hub or like talent development and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know about everybody else on the call, but for me, every time we go into these HR implementations, everyone's like, "Yeah, we're going to set up all the skills," and then they just don't do it. Right? Happens all the time. So I'm trying to figure out a way to help, like, if we can get over that hump, that might be helpful, just in general, right, for the industry. Just a thought.
Yeah, I think it's almost like if you have to do it, we'll have to sort of like create our own, where, as customers implement these, we need to, like, keep a repository of those, so that, we can present that, similar to, like, some of the examples that, because nowadays I think I've seen that, the trend is that, whenever a customer wants to implement something, they always come to us saying that, can you share examples of other customers within the same industries that have done it? So, they don't want to, no one wants to start with a blank slate. They want something to refer back to. So it's almost like, important for us to, like, if you want to, maintain this, to like maintain something in-house that, can be shareable with across different customers as they see, as we see fit, right? So we'll almost have to build it, because as I said, like, ServiceNow does provide the industry skill sets, but I'm not really sure how useful that is or relevant it is for the customers.
I was just going to throw out that demo 13 has Xanadu installed, and that's one of our HRSD instances. So if anyone's interested in that, they could go poke around, request access to the service catalog to that.
All right. Well, Mo, great job as always. Thank you. It's nice to see the new features.
Thanks, Mo.
Thank you. I'll share the slide deck with you, Josh, so we can share it with.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thanks, Mo.
Thanks, guys. Take care.